buy new gear,
Mm-hmm.
we are live. We can just go like, well, next time we buy new gear, we
Mm-hmm.
do a small test like on kitu saa tisa or afternoon
And
on a Saturday.
yeah, I was about actually to ask you, but I got a bit busy and
It's like in my favorite sport, Formula One. That's why during
mm,
Formula One we have what
mhm.
we call free practice sessions because
Ah,
the
that's to
vehicle
test it
system
out.
they have to test out it's called no FP free practice. We have to
Mm,
because the vehicles are normally packed.
mm-hmm.
Uh, when they are moving from one venue to another, they are they are dismantled and packed. So when you bolt it together, you don't expect the vehicle to run the same way.
Mm,
So they have to do a practice run. There are normally three practice runs that are done. And during that time, you now can tune up the vehicle if there are mistakes somewhere in the setup. So something new lazima kuwe na teething issues. Even during that's why we have what we call testing period. The season does not
mm,
just begin with just like that. There's a testing. There's a called test sessions. This year it was in Bahrain. They normally do it in Barcelona, but this time it's in
mm.
Bahrain. It's a new
They
vehicle.
did it in a different city. Mm,
Yeah, so they normally give 3 days of testing because it's very strict. There's a limited testing period. You can't test the vehicle on your own.
mm,
So
okay.
new equipment will always come with its. But
With
hapa
its
is just
challenges.
ni mali tu umesahau kuclick and then we have inapaa ni
And
kitu
you know,
kingine like
Naona everywhere it's reading, it has picked the device, it's on the audio, the speakers, the entire sound system, it's nimeweka the
si
slides
kuna
ziko
time hapa
juu.
my audio ilifail kumbe
Mm.
I had pressed a mute key bila kujua. And
That's good.
mute key ya hii kompyuta inakwanga F10. It had been
Mm,
on the entire week, but I didn't know. I was seeing a light that is on. I don't know
mm.
what is this light for. So I'm okay, 20. So when I had to use the microphone, nothing. Then another
Umepata
day,
ifanya nini?
ilienda pale kwa control panel
Mhm,
kwa
mhm,
recording, switch to, sometimes I normally use the Bluetooth. So
mm.
switch to something with Bluetooth.
Some
Sai
other
ikakuja.
device. Mm,
So okay, the good thing is that in computers is just mouse clicking. If we're dealing with mechanical devices,
mm.
you probably will be moving around with spanners and screwdrivers and
Exactly.
so,
Sometimes you end up dismantling the entire
system.
device system yote
So
ndio
this is the price to pay
identify ni kitu
for
kidogo.
technology. This is the price you have to
Mm.
pay for technology to restart and what not. So it is what it is. But we are live again. Episode number 20 what? 21 or what?
27.
Man, I'm not counting.
Yeah.
I
You're
just
not
say
counting.
Saturday, let's
Let's
go.
just move on. Let's go. Let's go.
Saturday,
Let's go.
let's go.
Mm.
So it's
Man,
some the usual mandamano going on.
man,
Mm.
that has been the talk of town more or less this entire week.
And I heard
Uh,
President
mm.
Suluhu saying that there's been an upsurge in a number of investors in
Let
Tanzania.
me let me even play that Sulu clip because
Yeah.
I think it's quite instructive
Mm.
for us to listen to this.
Mm.
And let
And
me
they
play
normally
it.
call us Majirani. When they say
Majirani hapa
Majirani,
coach.
they,
They
they,
mean
never,
Kenyans.
they do not even refer to Ugandans.
Yeah.
They'll call Ugandans, but Kenyans will be called Majirani.
Ni kama hawatutaki kutusema.
I don't know. Is it a
Kama
beef or what?
wanatusema kwa let me see. Suluhu.
Because
Wanatusema
Ugandans,
kwa
they would say Ugandans, they'll say Ugandans, Nini, what not. And then when it comes to Kenyans, Majirani. I mean, it's like you're not worth mentioning.
mm,
Mm.
yeah, I've got it. Okay. You can see the screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, let's go.
Mambo mengi yanafanyika vizuri. Amani kishamiri ndani ya nchi, miradi itakuja, maendeleo yatafanyika, wafanyabiashara watakuja, wawekezaji watakuja nchini, pesa itakusanywa, mambo yatakwenda. Tukiparurana na kugombana na nini, wale wanaokuja wanatusikiliza, wanasema kule hakwendeki, hakwendeki. Kwa mfano, nilikuwa namsikiliza mkurugenzi wa kituo cha uwekezaji Tanzania anahojiwa kwenye TV, akasema mwezi Mei na Juni tumepokea wawekezaji kiasi ambacho hatujawahi kupokea, wengi mno, na thamani ya miradi iliyokuja ni hii. Lakini ukitizama sababu ni nini? Sababu ni kwamba kwa jirani kuna waka moto, na mwekezaji hakai kuna kuwaka moto, wanakimbia wanakuja zao kwenye amani na utulivu. Ni waombe tutunze amani na utulivu tulionao. Tunapotofautiana tuambiane, hakuna kisichosemezeka. Tuambiane, suluhu ipatikane, sio suluhu mie, suluhu yenyewe, suluhu ipatikane ili tukae vizuri, mambo yaendelee. Kwa tunaposherekea mwaka mpya kwa wale ambao tulikuwa mbali, basi tubadilike, tuendane na haya ambayo tumeambiwa.
There we go.
There you have it. You know,
So,
I was contemplating about this, and I coined this term called the Kenya Industrial Political Complex, meaning it's like everything seems to coalesce around our politics. Politics are not essentially, and the machinery around it, it's not so much around governing the country. Politics in and of itself has become the business. I mean, you see music artists, creatives, leaving their own roles or careers to go into politics.
can give a
I mean,
shout
just
out
look at,
for
yeah,
oh,
Mr. Sharif Mustafa. Welcome, my brother. Thank you very much for joining us. So you've got influencers, artists, creatives, leaving their careers to join politics. And if you've got the likes of Jalango and others, I mean, you had Jaguar just now. You had the likes of Kabanye also trying their hand into politics, but yet failing. Everyone wants to, once you see them gain a certain level of prominence and followership and money, the next level is for them to ditch their careers to go into politics. It seems that's what will elevate them in every sense, in terms of growing money and influence. So you've got that element. If you look at just the whole political sector, you know, once somebody leaves, once we start a new administration, either the first or second term, it becomes efforts to begin campaigning for the next election. So there's no focus around development. You finish one election, you start preparing for the next one.
the electoral machine, the election machine.
Yes, and all that, then you have all this, you know, you've got the media tied to it. You've got businesses failing on or scaling up depending on your affiliation to the government of the day. You've got everything coalescing around our politics. Now we are hearing stories of how our security apparatus are being weaponized to frustrate or threaten the supposed enemy of the administration. So it's like our politics has become the business, and Everything else is by the way. But the main business of this country is politics. And it seems like you just need, even think about actually after our election, what happens? So we go through an election, someone is announced as a winner, it is supposedly contested, it goes to
To
the
go to
courts,
court.
and do you know most of those lawyers that mostly end up representing one party or the other? I believe that's where they make their biggest cut. So it's like that
It's a
contest.
machinery.
It's a machine. It's like that contest was actually pre-planned, because this is where you make a big payout to these lawyers. I would imagine probably even some bit of money laundering might happen in that case, but then it can be sort of disguised as legal services paid for representation at the Supreme Court. So, I mean, when you look at that entire and every sector around it, if you're into marketing and branding and car hire and all this, you're looking as much as possible to
And the
align yourself
blogging. And the
and
blogging.
and then blogging. I mean, I'm even looking at the effort some people are putting, and I'm like, I mean, for you to dedicate that time and effort, because there are sort of these sideline pundits that we know of, and even those sideline pundits have their watu wa kazi ya mkono below them, because somebody with a certain level of notoriety on Twitter, I presume many of them are hired. Many of them are taking something home. Because, I mean, it's one thing to be focused about our election. It's another thing to see a certain level of dedication, effort, follow through. That for me, it's like, man, we still have a
What,
life to live. If I'm not
what,
in politics, I mean, there's only so much attention I can give it before I divert my attention to my bread and butter and the things that put food on my table.
so if you look at it, um, this complex here, they know very well that an election is every 5 years.
Mm,
So it is to them it's like a crop that is planted, then you harvest after 5 years.
mm, mhm,
So chances are the volumes involving the financial volumes involved, somebody does mathematics for 5 years. If I
mm,
make this money can sustain me for 5 years. That's the kind of mathematics that may be involved. So you can
mm,
imagine the figures that we are talking of here.
mhm,
Now, what is happening is this: uh, in where someone else is making money from industrialization, we are making it from politics. When someone
mm,
is benefiting from research, we are making it from politics. When somebody is benefiting from product or service improvement, we are benefiting from politics. That is why we have a bunch of people who are very, very rich and
mm,
majority are poor. Because if, say, we want to, somebody comes up with a method for, because I've seen it on the internet. Someone comes up with a method. And I wanted to put it on Twitter, but I forgot.
mhm,
Uh, I saw some fracas in Kisii.
mhm,
The some place in Kisii we have green bananas.
mhm,
And as we are talking, there are places, I think it's in India, I've seen some Indian food channel where somebody is using banana flour as a alternative to wheat. You have banana bread, you have banana cake. So wheat will require fertilizer and a lot of inputs. I don't think green bananas require that much.
yeah,
I was
those things just sort
expecting,
of very low
I was
maintenance.
expecting now the likes of Raila to be coming up with the crack team of thinkers and say we are going to Kisii, we get all those small farmers to merge into a giant, a super green banana plantation. And then within that piece of land, we have a factory inside there. Because I was reading somewhere in 2021, we spent over, I think, $200 million on wheat import. So
Yeah.
if we have this green banana thing being made into flour to cater for that deficit, we are talking of you are saving over $100 million on dollar consumption. When you do that, automatically you see the shilling gaining. And all Raila has to do was simply to get these people, he has connections, let's set up this factory. And do you know how a factory for that banana flour is made? The green bananas are dried, you peel them, then you dry them, then you know that at domestic level, there's that part of a blender for grinding. Let's say you have
Yes.
groundnuts. Yes, you put it in such a similar entity. And you have the flour ready.
And you can make your chapatis now from
Yes.
that.
It's in Indian recipes. Chapati is made from banana flour. So the target is not to replace wheat flour. The target is to minimize that deficit of the import, that you are importing some wheat to top up on what our farmers are producing. Use the matoke instead.
Even
Top it up.
diversify our food sources. You remember even one time there was I don't remember this minister who he was. Who started saying, think about it. People in Asia eat rats and all this. Maybe our type of food sources are so limited. I remember one time working actually for an NGO. I think I've shared this with you. I think in Somalia, where there was drought that was going on, and because their main food sources is meat, mostly sourced from goats or camel, and their livestock were dying at that time. But apparently they live along the coast. Just imagine the endless food source they have.
So
So it's part of, actually that could be a proposal that the opposition could even offer the government, saying yes, if Unga has gone higher, why don't we use some of these other food sources that are already readily available?
There's no need for them to talk to the government. These people have the connections to bring in investors or on their own to partner with the farmers to form this factory. Because why I'm so keen on the green banana thing is that, number one, the main process is the crushing of the dried banana. Crushing of and then the beautiful thing is the banana does not grow on fertilizer. So the banana peelings can be used to make what we call organic fertilizer to enrich the soil. That's what makes it cheaper. In the other side, there's fertilizer, spraying, but this one is just grows within 4 months. You process it, the bananas and that stalk, you cut part of it, and you do, you know what? No, the stalk you need to grow another shoot. But those peelings, you put them in a biodigester. Now, option one, already, when I'm talking of the use of the peelings, already the soil in Kisii is very good. So instead of using that one for making organic fertilizer, use it to make biodiesel.
The banana peelings themselves.
Yes, biodiesel is diesel made from decomposing organic matter.
Okay.
You can use it to make it. Or alternatively, if not organic matter, or if not biodiesel, you can use it to make cooking gas. Methane comes from the decomposition of organic matter. So imagine if you have like 800 acres of green bananas, imagine the quantity of peelings that will come from there and the amount of cooking gas that can come from there. So one, you have knocked down on you are reducing, you may not completely eliminate it, but you've caused a very huge reduction on the wheat import. So let's say out of $200 million, you've saved $80 million. So you are down from 200 to 120. Use that one to make cooking gas. All our cooking gas is imported. So you've knocked down on the wheat import, knocked down on cooking gas. All of a sudden, this shilling will go back to 100 or 105 or 90 even.
Exactly. So it
Yeah.
reduces the heavy
Right.
demand that we are
So
putting on the dollar.
Is about these guys forming some sort of parallel government that leans more on industrial in the rural
And
areas.
you bring up a very strong point, because
Mm.
they do have some counties that they have won that are led by their own people. If you think of Kisumu County, if you think of some of the Ukambani counties, they are all under what you'd say the Azimio ya Umoja
Yeah.
party.
Kisii is
So
Azimio.
Kisii is Azimio. So this is a point where they can begin to even have a clear differentiation between
Yes.
the government
You
run
go there, you
counties
say all
and the
small
opposition
farmers,
run.
all form a company. All this small plantation of
And
greens, merge them. Then within, because one thing you have to avoid is the cartels, and the key to beating cartels is agro processing. That compound where you are planting your crops, let the factory be inside there, so that the farmers and the factories are one and the same. These are partners, so that when you are growing your matoke, you know this is where it's headed. Plain and simple. And when you find a product, a wheat product, something that is similar to wheat, it is costing 75 shillings for every 2 kilograms. You have upturned the system. You have literally upturned the system. Then we have the banana, let's say 500 acres you have harvested. Then from 500 acres of green bananas, can you imagine how many banana peelings you can get from there? And the quantity of methane gas you can get from digesting those peelings. How much gas is that? And how much are you reducing on the imports? Either it is the gas or cooking gas or is biodiesel, but I prefer cooking gas. Cooking gas, how much cooking gas can you get from there? If you do a mathematics, you can just do full elimination. And it becomes a very good, huge company whereby all cooking gas dealers, they buy from you. Now, the current cooking gas is petroleum based, that is taken from, is probably dug from a well. Then it is put on a, what we call a gas carrier. It is a ship that a gas carrier looks very unique. A gas carrier, it has, when you are storing gases for safety, a container for gas should not have sharp edges. So a gas carrier has things like hemispheres that you can shape. If I can just put one for you here, it's a very unique ship. I think I boarded one at the port. I was part of some company. It's called a gas carrier ship. Gas carrier ship. Yeah, here is. Let me just put it. You can check in your WhatsApp.
Okay.
I've sent it to you.
Okay, got it. Let me increase it.
Okay.
You can see it.
Hold on. Yeah, that is a gas carrier.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
the big.
Yes, you're not supposed to have sharp edges, because when you have a sharp edge, you have more pressure being applied there. And that's how it's supposed
It has
to
to be very rounded.
Yes. So the gas is brought in that. So you have to pay the owners of the ship. You have to pay for extraction. Then you are paying these owners. Then you pay for clear. So it's a very big process. But if you are manufacturing your gas from organic waste, which is banana peeling, you can imagine how low it will go. Can you imagine how low it will drop? Can you imagine how much the dollar will gain? No, imagine that one coming from an Azimio region.
County.
An Azimio County is where we have cheap alternative to wheat and a cheap alternative to gas. Imagine the traffic to Kisii land. Because that's where you should be having the containment, a very huge containment for the gas. You can imagine the traffic going to Kisii land for the gas and for the what do you call it? The material for the wheat flour.
Yes.
Yeah. You can imagine what happens. Now, even
For me,
yes.
For me, actually, the key takeaway from that is how the opposition can begin in a very more practical way to market itself as an alternative to the government, because this is what devolution is all about. I mean, when you think of the US, where you have got red states and blue states, and somebody can tell you, yeah, they can be able to have a clear differentiation of blue states and red states. So they say, blue states are known to be more crime prone. They are said to be poorly managed. So the red states clearly, and in the US, you can see most of the red states have actually seen a major migration of people living in places like California, coming to places like Texas and Florida. And it's because of those governments, because states, they're independent units within the federal state. They can set their own income taxes and the kind of things that the taxations that they have. So if somebody is increasing taxes in California, you can move to another state which has got lower taxes, so put in more money to your pocket. And somebody can clearly see that red states have better management. So next time when I'm voting for a governor in my state, I would go for a Republican in reference to the red states, and even that goes higher to the presidential part. So next time, even when they go back, the person who is a flag bearer of that party could say, look at our counties, how prudent and diligent.
Look how we run. Look at how we run things.
Yes.
So if these are the Azimio counties, like in the last 5 years, what is the economy of the Azimio counties? How is the economy? Like, let's say we start with Kisii. Kisii is the home of cooking gas, cheap. Kisii is the home of cheap wheat flour, and so many other things to do. You go to Kitui. It's a very hot place. That's a
Cement.
leave alone cement. You can set it up. Your cement factories are very expensive to set up. You can put something similar. That is home of the biggest solar power plant in Kenya.
100%.
Yeah. And the best solar panels, and I'm told the best solar panels come from Europe, because Europe, they have winter. So those solar panels are meant to optimize every bit of sunlight available. There's a very huge part of Kitui, which is arid. Cover 100% of it with solar, make it the biggest solar panel, so that when it is injected into the grid, you just see a drop in costs. So that we say, number one, Azimio, cheap wheat, cheap gas, green energy. The biggest green energy project is in Kitui, which is an Azimio. Already those three are setting up for 2027.
Exactly. Yeah. And people can start seeing, they can start encouraging people to migrate to some of their states, their counties.
You look for places like, I was talking to someone, that's why I came to realize some of these startups for EV, they are just people are there to eat money. They were advising the best place to set up an EV is in the rural areas, because number one, land is cheap. So you have the capacity to expand. So like me, if I get funding for my EV, I'll move from Athi River. I have a very huge tract of land in Busia.
Exactly.
There's a huge tract of now. You say a place like Busia, you say you go to China, you design your own motorbike, bring them place somewhere in Western to be the biggest assembly for electric motorbikes, the biggest one. So when you assemble in volumes, when you produce like 250 per day, your cost is cheaper. It becomes the go-to place, so that you have an expanding network of battery swap centers. You become renowned for such things. Right now in the international community, you are renowned for violence. And there are people who are really into that. Each time you talk of using an alternative way of, putting your agenda across, you are really thought of as though we are benefiting. But I think the best way is to be a solution-oriented opposition. And the message you are sending is, if this is what we are doing when you are not in power, imagine how far we'll fly when you are in power. This is us in opposition now.
Yes.
And you are flying. Ukitoka Ongozini will perforate the sky and go to the moon. And a lot of things. Yeah? So there are so many things to do. Things like even you can invest into water transport. You can come up with so many projects. So, see, there are so many. The beautiful thing about Kenya, it is full of problems. And where a place is full of problems, there's an opportunity for solutions.
100%. I mean,
I'm
this is what we are
actually
talking
shocked
about.
that up to now we are complaining of gas, and Dandora is stinking. Dandora, that's stinky. That is methane gas.
That's methane gas. Exactly. That entire landfill of garbage is a resource.
And see, there's no issue of patents or whatnot. That thing is already there. There's a state in, I think Sharon Mustafa can bear some light. I think that was in 2008. They had a landfill which was producing so much gas, they had to convert their garbage collection trucks into special methane combustion engines. So now the budget for garbage, and so the budget for garbage, the fuel budget for garbage collection is zero. We say the garbage is fueling itself.
Exactly.
So I really wonder. See, you should be a solution provider. If you don't even to sit with the government or anything, you just use your connection and start implement from grassroots. Grassroots implementation. Things like I once shared with someone on Twitter. There's a product called vegetable patties. A vegetable patty is something that is, when you buy a beef burger, it has that piece of meat you say that's called a meat patty.
Yes.
A vegetable patty is it looks very nice. In fact, I shared with someone. Now use value addition to things like veggies, so that those vegetable farmers, I think in Thailand, are in a very big problem. The price of vegetables in the market, of cabbages in the market, is not determined by them. The price of cabbages in the market is determined by a cartel within the market. Like in Kongoya market or whatever market, there is a cartel that decides this is the price we are going to buy, or we have nowhere to take it. Approach these people as opposition. We are providing, and our system for making those parties actually is a kitchenette. Yeah, it's a kitchenette. Then this one can be sold to there are so many food outlets which make fresh burgers from high-end to Juakali and whatnot. So you are adding value to products. You see, at county level, small tomato paste manufacturing units at county level. If you are in opposition,
we've spoken about some of these cottage industries,
this thing you can just buy the filling unit from China.
Exactly.
There's a filling unit available from China. You told them this is the material, this is the filling unit. Do you want fully manual, semi-automatic? They will give it to you.
Instead of I heard the government wants to get into the business of bringing in Mama Pima services of cooking oil. That's none of your business. The point is to provide the environment and the requisite policies and let the private sector, and Kenyans are known. We are self-driven.
All these opposition people need to do is bring the you fly to whatever country, because I know there are so many countries in the international scene who are vouching for the opposition. Give us two investors to this county for there's this product available in this county. This is a value addition project. So that by the
Yeah,
time you get to 2020, by 2026, all counties in opposition have factories, have investors.
100%. And even then, the opposition could lobby the government if you're bringing in a lot of this sort of cottage-based machinery, like the toothpaste ones. We spoke of the USB assembling or create manufacturing machine, that pressing machine for USBs. If they already can show the impact of having this as a way to spur manufacturing at a sort of low scale level, they can then lobby the government and say, why can you zero rate these machines? Look at the impact it's doing in terms of the jobs
No,
it's providing,
you just say
livelihood, and all
you
that.
just say listen, you just say put us into power and we zero rate them. You are making campaign for 2026. Join us so that we can enjoy the fruits. We cannot reach into it because you're a government oriented county. We can't poke into your affairs. We are looking after our own people. But if you
Yes.
put us into power, all people becomes our own people. We are not
Mm.
segregational. Put us into power,
The
these
entire
machines will be
Kenya. Yeah.
generated. Yeah. So that is how you campaign. And you campaign quietly. Each time we see on TV, you are launching a biogas facility made from banana peelings. You are launching a facility that is manufacturing wheat alternative to wheat flour, costing at 3/4 of the price. Next, you are in Kitui, launching the biggest solar power plant in Eastern Central Africa. Each time you see on TV, you are launching something. So you are appearing on TV once every 4 months. That's why is the opposition quiet. The opposition is not quiet. Yeah, it's quiet because it is working behind the scenes.
Mm.
I launch a facility until now, from now on, we can acquire this cookie gas and you go ahead and set a retail price. Recommended retail price 500 shillings for that 6 kg unit. People run to you.
Mm.
There's
So
going to
instead
be
of
a mass because the power is this. You are now setting even a retail price. We are launching our own wheat flour system, and you see, you have to cover all your bases when you are setting. Because with my background in manufacturing, if I'm doing such a thing, and there's some bit of politics involved, I'll ensure, for example, if it is for the wheat thing, I have a factory, then I have some spaces I've put aside for external lab. I'll have SGS have their space inside there. Bureau Veritas have their space inside there, their own 2 labs. I'll
yes,
invite even KEBS. Please put your facilities here so that you can be testing everything as it goes.
at
If
source.
KEBS, if the KEBS is sort of hesitant, no problem. SGS and Bureau Veritas, these are international companies. And if they're giving us a tick, let's see what KEBS is going to tell us so that we know in politics, they are doing real work. You are
I
covered all
mean,
your bases. You go to
instead
the
of
biogas thing. That
it,
biogas, you put a space for SGS, Bureau Veritas. Then you say, KEBS, Karibuni. They delay, tunaendelea. Then when they start making noise, or there's a quality, there's an issue of quality, you show them reports from Bureau Veritas and SGS. Remember, what do you mean? 2 companies, international organization, are giving us a clean bill of health. EN Unisiasa. And they have so already people are saying, no, this is the what this is the new type of opposition now. So either the government will adopt your method, which will be a win for everyone, or
I'm sure they'll copy.
they'll copy, but you will tell them we initiated these things.
Exactly.
leave alone with these copycats. Hawa ni copycatting tu, copy paste. Sisi ndo
Yes,
tulianzisha hii kazi
yes,
ya
yes.
projects ambazo zinaendeleza maisha ya wananchi. Hawa walituona tu ndo akatukopi. So why do you want to stick with the copycats? Yet you can do the real thing. You can sit the originators in power. Now,
And
back to those two projects. Imagine the number of opportunities for interns and employment, because right now, before even talk about employment, internship in Kenya is a headache. And improvement of know-how. Then you go to that power plant, the biggest solar power plant in Eastern Central Africa, making it a case study.
The resources we have, they are all around us. It's just becomes now how effective are we at harnessing them and being.
So I wish that would be a very good opposition tactic. Opposition by giving alternative methods. So you can come and say, listen, the dollar was 140. Because of Azimio, it is at 110. This is purely Azimio work. Now imagine if we are in power. You are assured of presidency. That presidency is yours. Give us the opportunity. We only got it to 110 while we were in opposition. Imagine tukiingia kwa hizi karudi mpaka 70. What are you talking about?
That's the thing with our politicians. I think they are very short-sighted. The opposition, of course, has fashioned itself to just be opposing everything the government
They are operating in the Nyayo era type of upinzani, that whereby you are complaining that press freedoms, yes, we know you did that, but that one is a closed case. So now you oppose tactfully.
Offer us an alternative.
A working alternative
provider. Yeah, so it would clearly be seen, yes, and then they should also be very proactive in their messaging and in packaging these stories.
Package of industrialization, Tangu, like you see, it's about politics. We focused on Kisii. By the year 2026, the number of millionaires, you have like 500 new millionaires in Kisii County. People say, huh? We came to Busia, we set up a plant for bulk manufacture of electric vehicles. We now have this percentage of millionaires in Busia County. People look at them and say, Allah, hey, these are the people, but you come to Nairobi. Since Nairobi is very big, is complex, you play just a very simple trick. That story I gave you of the hybridization of vehicles. Identify one circle that is struggling. We offer to convert all of their vehicles to hybrids. Bring them to the media and say, since this hybrid project, our fuel consumption has gone down by 35%. That is one circle. 35%.
The solutions exist, but both the guys in government and the opposition, they are all short-sighted. No one is offering real solutions.
I will not call it so. They are not short-sighted. They are solving their own personal solution. They are solving their own problem. This is a push for power.
True. That's true.
When someone has an opportunity to get his spoon into the national pot, it's done.
What is this level of? I even wonder, what is this level of greed? I guess it's a poverty mindset, because you feel that for you to have, then the other person does not need to have. So you're always trying to accumulate for yourself because you feel that there is not enough cake to go around for everyone. everyone, and they will all get, and there will still be more. But because we are so, we have that lack mentality, we always want to eat now, eat only for ourselves. Everyone
And
else can fuck off.
you end up destroying the system. Like now, real estate has gone haywire because this is laundered money. Then
I
they
mean,
put up huge skyscrapers which are empty.
exactly. I mean, just
Why
think
don't
of
you,
that
okay, then
statement
why don't
from
you just start a factory with the laundered money? It's a bit better.
put up
Start a factory.
industrial. What you are talking about are like industrial zones. Let's say you put up
Hmm.
so industrial zones in each county. Instead of
Each
talking of
county.
a housing project, put
Hmm.
industrial zones. Let housing project be run by the private sector. They will be the ones to put up,
See,
estates
the
and those kind of things. That's not
housing,
your facility. That's not your business as a
yeah,
government.
housing. Anybody can stay in the house he wants. And now, for these people who are servicing mortgages for the houses they are living in, what happens to them now? The issue is just facilitate industry, empower people. A house is not financially empowering.
Mm,
The house won't empower you in any
exactly.
way.
That's not
Yeah.
a. That's not
A
a.
typical Kenyan will spend 8 hours away from that house.
Yes.
In fact, I wish there could be some kind of technology whereby you have a house that in the morning you can, after you've prepared yourself, you wake up, you zip it up and unaibeba mkononi ukienda nayo. Because it's just sitting there doing nothing. Why don't you have something whereby you pay for space on a monthly basis? Then you come there, kifika jioni, you sort of unzip it. You do it like the way those Formula
Carpet.
One Formula
Mm,
One motorhomes. They are made
mm,
of, I think, fiberglass. They are
mm.
normally dismantled and packed in a container, and they move from house to place. So if we could have such a, because this issue of brick and mortar and the kukoroga simiti is really working against.
It's interesting, when we talk, the solutions are there. We can see the real problems and understand everything. I mean, I wonder what the president felt when that statement from the Tanzanian president Suluhu Samia, when she
Mm,
said that there's been an influx of investors coming into Tanzania because
mm,
of the instability in Kenya. What
mm.
what what goes in his mind? His mind really focused on that, or his mind is we have to crush this as a new guys at whatever cost. We have to crush them. They have to know who is. Because in any sense, if Kenya is doing well and these guys want to enrich themselves, and you're not saying don't enrich yourself, if you're in that position of power to possibly grow your business empire, you'll probably grow it more when Kenya does well.
But then
But
again,
you
you
know,
have to ask,
I'm trying to crack my mind.
you have to look at the bigger picture and ask yourself the current leadership, be it in opposition or otherwise, what kind of electorate they want? Does it thrive under an empowered electorate or impoverished people?
Okay. I
You have
guess
to
when
ask
the
yourself.
impoverished works at best for their strategies.
Yeah, because
Man,
if let's say you have a plant in the outskirts of Nairobi, like the way Volvo are setting up an EV battery system that will employ 3,000 people at a go. That is only on
well,
the shop floor in Volvo, Sweden.
in Sweden.
3,000. 3,000 only on the shop floor. There's logistics, there's marketing, quality control, name it. So when you have like five of them in the outskirts of now, that is 15,000 people. Where are you going to get crowds? For
I mean,
Stone throwing.
those countries you hear that
Mm.
there's more job than the people.
Yeah. So if you set
Every
up
one
such a
person
system,
is probably has 2 jobs or 3 jobs.
yeah. By the time
So they have to bring
you
in
are
people
you
from
are
outside or you
you are done with
automate.
by the time you are 8 hours from work, you are finished. You just want to go and sleep. So if we have such a system, where do you get crowds? Right now, you can
Man,
get a crowd on midweek of a weekday. You can get a crowd.
mhm.
Hmm. So if you set up such a system, where do you get crowds from? If in Nairobi, you have in the outskirts of Nairobi, say at the river Mlolongo, Syokimau, Westlands, and what not, Kangembe, we have 8 factories that are mass employing around 2,000 people. That is 16,000. So when you have 16,000 people working from 6 in the morning to 2 o'clock, then 2 to 10, 10 to 6, that rotation of 24 hours, where are you going to get people to come up with some silly slogan and to rouse up people's emotions? So if we have to understand what the current system, the fuel for it, what is the fuel?
Yeah, people are idle. People have nothing to be doing, so they'll be there.
Otherwise, this could have been implemented in 2002 when we had the first opposition leadership. Did it happen? No, it didn't happen. So we have to understand. That's why I say, avoid getting into this activist kind of thinking.
So tell me, do you think inherently as human beings, we seem to almost by default just self-sabotage ourselves, sort of shoot ourselves on the foot? Why
You mean
is
what,
that?
Kenyans, Africans, or the rest of the world?
Particularly the African context.
Because if you're, it is not happening in other countries. But you see,
Yes.
at the end of the day, it comes a time when you don't have to bother about Africans and whatnot. Do you?
Do you?
I was working with someone, and he just told me, Brian, you're in the wrong country. You are in the wrong country, and you're in the wrong skin color. So you be that person that looks weird. You be that person that your company produces products so that when you place it next to something from UK, they look like, hey, Kwani, this is an African thing. Be that person. Don't bother the activism. Don't bother the rousing other. Let you be seen by your reasoning, be seen by your product, be seen by your services.
Whatever
Only
you
that.
produce.
This activism and so we need to, we have to. No, you. Somebody is going to argue you out easily. Someone will come up with a very elaborate argument that makes you believe that being what you are is good for you.
It will actually just hold you back. Just focus on yourself.
They'll introduce story of colonization and reparations and these people, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I just see also. I mean, the Charifa shared some two common. One was on the landfill, and actually, it made me realize, even places like South Africa that now are experiencing load shedding. I mean, there's not enough power. How much are they utilizing? I mean, much of their power is sourced from coal, and now with less coal, how are they using other alternatives? And maybe landfill could be part of that solution mix that they're looking for. Talking of Germany and countries in the West, their economies are growing. They're able to produce the jobs, but there are not people. There are no people to fill those jobs. I was actually listening to, I think, a governor in one of the states in America. I think it was Maryland. He's the one who mentioned that idea that if they look at their population in Maryland, there are more jobs than the people. So it's like 2 or 3 jobs for one person. But you can't have that human being fulfilling those roles. So it seems like the economy is growing, but there are no people to fill those. And where do they get them? Are they going to import the workforce, or are they going now to start thinking of ways of automation?
Oh, that's why.
We don't understand business.
That's why I was saying in that Germany, these they are called badges, which these are automated. They are like bots, huge bots. Instead of, because they have a shortage of pilots, they are operated remotely, like one person on a screen running like 4 badges.
Oh, I see.
One
Yeah.
person.
So
And
4 badges are what? 4 aeroplanes or what are those?
a badge, let me just share with you briefly here, is something you use to transport huge, what we call it, huge amounts of material on water, but over a short distance.
Oh, I know a badge. Yeah, I think I've seen it. It's kind of like one of those flat bots.
Yeah. Maybe I can share a picture here.
Share a picture. Yeah.
So instead
They're
of
able to
like,
run those remotely.
yeah, in fact, I shared it on Twitter some time
Mm.
back. I don't know if that video is there. If I
Yeah, I've
can
seen
recall,
this.
let me see. Remote badge, Germany.
So there's no captain in this ship, no human
No,
being
that
in
is a
it.
normal one.
Okay.
Here it is. But this one is in France. This one is in. They're called autonomous badge. Semi-autonomous badge because you're controlling it from far.
Mm.
Autonomous.
I remember seeing those images even of Americans who'd go to some,
Mm.
controlling drones and
Mm.
it's like they're, running a warfare, but they're
Mm.
doing it from all they have is a joystick. They go to some remote spot somewhere in some desert within America, but they're
Yeah, those are drones.
conducting war the
Mm.
other side of the world.
Mm. Yeah, those are drones. Those are drones. The one I have here is from France. So they are speaking the language they are speaking. Or maybe let me just go to my Twitter page and see
Okay.
if I can sort of get it. Media. I put it quite a while ago, so let me just do a.
It's okay. Even it's not.
I
It's
can do
okay. I
it some
think
other time.
we can do it some other
But then
time.
again,
Yeah.
so it's now you can now imagine. See, what it is going to be very sad for us,
Hmm.
where we leave our resources here and we go to become workforce of another country. You as an
Can you imagine?
individual, okay, you may benefit from their systems, whatnot, but as long as your country, you'll always be at a disadvantage somehow because that is not your home.
That's not your home.
It's your
That's
home,
how I was even. I mean, the other
and you're
day when I
thinking,
saw our foreign affairs cabinet secretary, promote this whole thing of, I'm committed to helping Kenyans get jobs. So, what are you saying? Are you leaving the home front depleted of their brains? Because that's really our main source.
hmm,
You're educating someone in Kenya,
yes.
and you've invested so much, but the person who's going to gain it is another country. I mean, how stupid can that be?
And now you see when you go to these countries and they make use of your thinking. Of course, you live a good life. You drive your own S550, but when you drive an S550, you are fueling using petrol from a German businessman. Your children, you'll probably sire children with a German woman. Whatever offspring you are producing are not original Kenyans. They are learning under German systems. They will love it there. The time you take them to Kenya, they'll be like, "Hey, Dad, this is where you come from. Hmm. You need to go back home." They are telling you, "Let's go back home," and your home is
Where
there. Are you not killing your own country?
you are.
These
It's the
people,
most
because
stupid
of being
approach.
so self-centered, the future of the republic is in tatters. For one,
Mm.
very few people are proud of this republic. There's no product like you see. We were doing some work with a German engineer. We were looking at something. Say he was looking at a piece of equipment that came from China. He would say, "Now this Chinese, you should see how a German one looks like." We do not have a product that say you should see how a Kenyan one looks like. There's nothing tethering us to this country. The only
It's a
thing
very
that can bring
misguided approach.
the only two things that can bring us together is when our athletes are running abroad. And remember, when they are running, they are wearing Nike or Adidas. These are German things. And the
Yes,
other thing that will bring us together is maybe a leaked porn clip.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Somebody has leaked a sex video that will unite us. You're
yes.
not going to say this piece of equipment, this is Kenyan, the best one in this region. Nothing. Americans, they love their trucks so much, that long nose. That's why even Volvo, a Swedish unit, a
Mm.
Volvo in America is also a long nose. They are called NL something, NL something,
Okay.
because the normal Volvos are FH.
They're the flat.
But in America, they have to put a long nose because Americans believe
Like,
in their vehicle. It is crazy.
yeah.
You have a uniting flow. You have to drive an American vehicle, it's either a Mark, Kenworth, Peterbilt, or Freightliner, or whatever. But now, since Volvo is there, he has to build his vehicles with that shape. Look at, because they know this is the American
What they
uh,
design. Yeah.
system, and they have to build them. A good number have to come with the manual because an American trucker believes in a manual Eaton Fuller gearbox, 12-speed.
Mm.
A man's
Yeah.
mad, and
It's kind
so
of like even
it's a
Toyota, how they
culture.
changed and created
Yeah.
the Tundra version. Of course, was to compete
Mm.
with the Ford F-150s and others.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
because you've created such a powerful culture of products and services which people believe in. So that's why they feel very annoyed when some American jobs, some American companies export their. This is what Trump was making noise. Why are we building factories in China?
Yeah.
So this
Those
is what we
factories
should
should
be talking about. But now our republic,
man.
man, there's actually no product that is uniting us apart from when somebody from Kenya wins something and when some prominent person leaks a sex tape. I don't know if it is a leakage or just cloud chasing, but those are the two uniting factors of this republic. It's very unfortunate. There's absolutely nothing.
It's a sad story. It's a sad story, and I hope really
And I
we
don't know,
can come
the
to.
thing is that you get an opportunity to do something or build something, make it so unique that it stands out. They'll say, "Ah, this is an import." No, it's not. Okay, it may
Mm,
be an import. You may say, like what I'm currently working towards. I have a
mm,
design. It's going to be made in China. It will be brought back, assembled locally as a local product, Kenyan branding and
mm,
everything. We can start
mm,
from there. You build the brand. After all, there are machines made in Germany, but you find a motor is like Grundfos motor from China.
mm,
Is assembled in China. So
mm,
as long as
mm,
the branding is okay and you're offering an opportunity for your Kenyan citizen to take part in the final assembly, it's well and good.
At
At
least
least
there's,
you're doing
there's
something. There's identification. That's why
yeah,
I
and
feel
probably
very
eventually
satisfied
to then elevate
to.
our manufacturing enough to bring it here and get it sourced here, rather get
Hmm.
it manufactured and produced here.
Then
Yeah.
you have things like now that Taifa laptop. They just let that thing go like that. And only in this just one regulation, all government offices have to buy the Taifa laptop.
100%.
And it will kick off.
Schools.
All parastatals and government have to buy the Mobius 3. Counties and whatnot. If there's any need for S, it has to be Mobius 3. If it is any laptop, it has to be the Taifa.
I'll tell you
Taifa
that manufacturing assembly point will be brought here tomorrow.
Hmm.
As soon as they get that order,
Hmm.
saying that now government is going to be driving Mobius cars, government is going to be,
using Taifa laptops, and
you know
then we
that
tell
the
them
biggest
now, you
consumers.
give them the incentive. You beat the laptops. Now we want all servers in government factories to be Taifa servers.
Yes.
You go to companies like Safaricom. If you use Taifa laptops for your work, you are going to give you this percentage relief on your
Of your
taxation regime.
taxes. Yes.
You will see how Taifa
Solutions
will
are
go
there.
crazy.
Which
Huh?
is
Oh,
what
yeah.
is the
Just
mental
tell them
block?
because Taifa is running. You go to Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom. If you do a swap the next financial year, if you replace all of them, I'm going to give you a tax relief of this amount. Those
And you
people
see
will run
taxes
for those.
will even skyrocket.
Huh?
Collection will go up.
And because now
Anyway.
there's sparring of growth. Then you go back to Taifa people. You guys have made laptops, correct? Now I want you to assemble mobile phones. Next order of business, all member of parliaments, see they are normally given loans to buy high-end phones. We're only giving you a loan for Taifa phones.
Mm.
If you want to buy an iPhone,
Yeah. This was also what Modi of India said. No problem. Mercedes-Benz come, but we are going to buy only a Mercedes-Benz built in India.
built in India. Yeah.
That's it. The
So the day
solutions are there.
when somebody from DTW wakes up and he gets news that this year there'll be zero Mercedes purchases, everything will be Mobius, they start thinking maybe we need to do some bit of local assembly. When
Yes.
somebody from Toyota Kenya tells you that from now on those big police SUVs are only coming from Mobius, I say, no, let's do something. You say,
Exactly.
we can say 50% of the fleet will come from Mobius, 50% will come from any foreign based product that is locally assembled with this number of workforce. Now people now start going crazy.
They have leverage. I don't know why they don't utilize that leverage. Man, I think we are the crazy ones. I think we'll end it
We are the
there.
mad people. Yeah, I need to go for psychiatric evaluation. Maybe
Yes,
we are just
because,
wasting internet Wi-Fi here for nothing.
at
Blowing
this
up
point
bundles.
we might just change also to be a comedy show because this
Okay.
stuff we are talking about now
I think this may be
doesn't make sense.
This may be the best think tank East Africa has ever seen.
Exactly. And
So,
I'm sure those bright minds are there. Man, yeah, we've done what? 10 minutes
1 hour,
and 1 hour,
8
10 minutes.
Man, no rehearsal, no nothing.
No, nothing. Can I indulge you for about 5 minutes? Let's see if we can test this thing.
No problem. No, fire it away.
Let me end the live broadcast.
End the live.
See you guys.
Harry Mustafa, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharif.